Tonight, new coronavirus restrictions introduced as South Australia battles a cluster. And investigations continue into a house fire at Port Augusta.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. South Australia will face tighter coronavirus restrictions as the state government battles to prevent a major outbreak. From midnight tomorrow, the amount of people allowed inside a home will be slashed from 50 to 10 people, while pubs will become seating only. Locally, doctors and businesses are warning a Victoria-style situation would be devastating for the community.
From the world's most livable city to a ghost town, Melbourne declared a disaster zone with strict curfews and restrictions now in place as COVID clusters and the horror death toll continue to grow. South Australia's government declaring the eastern state a threat with 2 new confirmed cases in SA today. The Premier taking immediate action.
We will continue to act swiftly, to trust the experts and keep ahead of the game. And that's what we've done in South Australia.
Of the 2 new cases, one is a male in his 50s who flew in from New Delhi and a woman in her 20s from Victoria. Both are in hotel quarantine. 2 schools are also in lockdown.
This is a reflection of how transmissible this virus is and how quickly it is spread.
Restrictions have also been tightened. From midnight tomorrow, home gatherings will be capped at 10 people and eateries will only provide sit-down meals. A hard blow for many pubs and clubs.
It's been incredible lately where we've seen those numbers of people travelling within the state picking up, numbers are starting to roll along. This was a great opportunity and now to be faced with this.
Port Lincoln's Chamber of Commerce concerned for the future of local business.
To have that shut down again and wind back when people have just started getting back out and about would be of serious concern.
Doctors echoing the calls for us not to become complacent, warning a second wave could still hit South Australia.
We're really still at the start of this pandemic, so it has a long course to run.
With cases in Adelaide, experts are concerned clusters could form again in regional centres.
Geographical distance makes no difference. We're as at risk of a cluster here as in Adelaide or anywhere else in South Australia.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A house has been destroyed and a neighbouring building suffered extensive damage after a fire in Port Augusta in the early hours of this morning. Neighbours could only watch on as flames tore through the property.
A local house now lying in ruins.
Yeah, there was a big bang, but then everything went quiet. Then my Daniel upstairs saw the fire and he went out and evacuated the guests.
Just woke up from sleep and saw a big fire outside. That's all, and we got evacuated from the hotel.
Fire ripping through the property in the early hours of this morning. Motel guests capturing the moment the blaze reached almost 6 metres high.
Just a big fire. That's all I saw, a big fire coming from on top of the roofs.
Emergency services arriving at the scene at around 2 a.m, but there was little they could do to save the building.
On arrival, the fire was extended to the extent where the building had already started collapsing.
The neighbouring motel narrowly avoiding being caught up in the situation.
This is a one in a million chance. There's been no injury with the amount of people that alongside the premises, those that was believed to have come out of the premises, plus the amount of firefighters and other emergency service personnel on scene. We've been very lucky.
Fire investigators believe the blaze was sparked from comfort fires from those who have been squatting on the premises.
We've had ongoing problems with squatters in the house next door.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and quite common disturbances.
The damage bill is estimated at $300,000. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A local MP has been dragged into the country travel allowance affair. Member for Stuart Dan Van Holst Pellekaan is in the spotlight over a claim from last year. The Mining and Energy Minister claimed a one-night stay in Adelaide back in November, the same night he attended the Kapunda Rodeo. In a statement, Mr Van Holst Pellekaan says he believes he's complied with the guidelines, but will correct any mistakes if notified of them. Port Augusta's infamous Yorkeys Crossing will soon see an upgrade to its unsealed road. The changes are also set to benefit residents in Devonport, who've had to put up with plumes of dust from the crossing.
After almost a decade of discussion, debate and advocacy, Port Augusta's most important road is getting a makeover.
What our state government is going to do is seal the bottom 1.5 kilometres of Yorkeys Crossing, so there'll be really good bitumen road right past the community so that we can alleviate as much of the dust problem from the traffic.
That dust, rising up as large trucks and vehicles come over the hill at Yorkeys Crossing, has been an issue for the Davenport community for many years.
The dust is an health hazard. You know, a lot of the Aboriginal people have got like chest infection.
Locals say the upgrades are a long time coming and are the result of years of lobbying government officials.
It's great to see government working with like Aboriginal people from the ground up to have their input. It's a fantastic outcome.
The project could also create jobs within the local Aboriginal community. Conversations already underway with companies involved in the Joybaloo Bridge duplication.
To speak to them about Aboriginal engagement and opportunities for Aboriginal jobs, business and that type of thing.
The resealing will begin later in the year and is expected to be completed by early 2021.
You know, we just know that, the more bitumen that we can roll out throughout country and outback South Australia, the higher quality and the safer our roads will become.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, Whyalla Council celebrates 50 years of local government. And Port Lincoln shark cage diving businesses celebrate a weekend of love. Welcome back. Whyalla City Council has marked 50 years of local government with a special display at the Middleback Arts Centre. The 25-minute Illuminati screening ran on a continual loop, showing photos from the 1970s up until the present day. The Arts Centre opened for the first time to locals since the coronavirus crisis forced it to shut in March, with dozens gathering to watch the projection. The project marked the end of Council's month-long Golden Anniversary commemorations across the Steel City. Whyalla's enterprising women organisation held a special celebration over the weekend, honouring the 2020 Businesswoman of the Year. Winner Amy Quist spoke about her journey at a special function at the Middleback Arts Centre on Saturday night. She's encouraging women of all ages to follow their passion.
It's really important for mums and young women to know that your dreams are important and your goals and your ambitions, and nothing will stop you if you're passionate and you're driven.
Previous winners of the award were also in attendance. Land tax relief is now available for South Australian property owners impacted by COVID-19 restrictions. The state government is offering eligible landlords a 25% reduction on their 2019-2020 liability, provided they pass on the full benefit to their tenants. Impacted tenants include gyms, clothing retailers, medical and dental practices, hotels and motels, restaurants and hairdressers. Those who think they qualify for the support can apply via the Revenue SA website. Applications close on September 30. An Adelaide man is thought outside the cage when it comes to marriage proposals, popping the question while diving with great white sharks. It wasn't the only proposal on the water, with another pair also asking the big question out on a charter.
Surrounded by sharks, Guy Burnside was out to prove just how deep his love for Chelsea was.
What? Will you marry me? Yes,
The 25-year-old calling on the crew from Adventure Bay Charters to help pop the big question. The couple sat inside the ship's aqua sub while divers in the shark cage outside held up the sign.
I was like, oh, Chelsea, look behind you. And she's like, what? Is this a joke or what? And then I was like, just pulled out the rain.
Was everyone on board on this? She said yes!
Chelsea was taken completely by surprise.
I was very shocked because I was not expecting that at all. That was like, I'm still very shocked right now.
A Port Lincoln native, Guy wanted to propose in his hometown. The couple celebrated by popping a bottle of bubbly and showing off the new ring.
It was a very special moment. I started really tearing up and I was like, Oh, I've got a fiancé now.
The aquatic occasion was thrown together at short notice, the crew only given 2 days to prepare.
Guy gave us very last notice, so we had to get onto some shops about getting a sign made and that type of stuff. But yeah, we had a couple of locals help us, and all the team and passengers on board were all over it as well.
I'm happy that it all went well and she said yes.
And it seems love was in the air and on the water all weekend. Another groom-to-be popped the question, this time on board a Calypso Star Charters trip.
The bride-to-be did say yes, so all's well that ends well.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
High risk, high reward. Congratulations to the happy couples. Stay with us after the break. Calls for Adelaide residents to consider tying the knot in regional South Australia. And we'll wrap up the weekend's footy action. A Whyalla woman is calling for couples planning their nuptials to consider having it in regional South Australia. Business owner Cindy Westfallen says there is a growing market for weddings overlooking this Spencer Gulf.
This picturesque backdrop, the perfect location for a wedding. In a growing trend, couples are now looking for a wedding experience different to the norm. Cindy Westphalen is in the business of making dreams come true.
Wedding tourism is a market that I believe is already existing, but perhaps not identified.
Weddings are estimated to be worth $222 million to South Australia's economy. Cindy says it's money that could easily be spent in regional cities.
They use local restaurants, they use local accommodation. On an average, if a wedding has 100 people, that's a lot of extra people that are coming into the area.
Local tourism operators keen to share in the joy.
I think any business is good for Whyalla, any new business that comes to the city. But tourism weddings is very well known interstate and particularly in Queensland.
Raised in Whyalla, Cindy's passion for weddings started at an early age. She now owns and operates Woodburn Homestead Estate, a 42-acre wedding venue, as well as Cindy's Classic Gourmet, a successful wedding catering business.
We do lots and lots of weddings. We're currently booked at our venue till April 2022.
Everyone could benefit from this, and particularly the people that come to the city. They're staying in our hotels, they're eating in our restaurants, they're buying petrol to get here, or they're flying in. So it's great for the visitor economy.
More information about Cindy's businesses can be found on her website. Sophia Contigonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
1 in 8 women living in regional Australia has experienced homelessness in the past 5 years, according to research by the YWCA. The study surveyed more than 1,000 women living on low to moderate incomes in regional areas. The findings prompted the group to raise awareness, calling on the federal government to help improve homelessness rates by providing more housing security for regional women. More information about Homelessness Week, which started last Friday, is listed on its website. To footy now, and Central Whyalla has survived a fright to overcome bottom of the table Waroona Bay. The Tigers led at half-time before Centrals took control to cement their place in the top 4. Sophia Contigonis has the weekend wrap.
The sun was shining at Bennett Oval yesterday, with Centrals and Waroona Bay both needing a win for very different reasons. Centrals went into the match as heavy favourites, looking to consolidate their finals position, while Waroona Bay was stuck on the bottom of the ladder without a win. The Bays had other ideas though, making things difficult for Centrals. Stephen Jackson was playing one of his best games of the year for the Bays. The team led at half-time before the favourites gradually steadied the ship. Centrals winning a tight one by 13 points. Scott Collison kicked 5 goals for the winners. Bays remain at the bottom of the ladder, yet to win a game, while Centrals are now looking ahead to the finals in just over a month's time. In Saturday's games, the league's 2 undefeated teams battled it out. After a tight first quarter, it was one-way traffic, with West running out a whopping 86-point victory. It was a fitting result for West's Aaron Smith, who played his 300th game. And at Memorial Oval, South and North North battled for 4th spot. A 7-goal-to-none first half, helping North to a clinical win over the Demons. Turning to other leagues now, and we'll start in Port Lincoln. Lincoln South were too strong for Boston, thrashing the Tigers by 97 points. Eagles forward Scott Young scoring 6 goals in a man-of-the-match performance. In the other match, Tasman defeated Marble Range by 32, a 4-goal-to-1 second half, giving them the points. Over to northern areas now, when Crystal Brook defeated Southern Flinders by 41 points. Matt Weckett kicking 5 for the winners, while Ururu edged out BMW. And finally, in the Spencer Golf League, the Lions defeated West Augusta by 5 goals, while South Augusta had a 33-point win over Port. That's it for football from across the region. Stay with us tomorrow night for a wrap-up of the rest of sport.
Stay with us after the break. We'll check the day's finance news, and we'll have the weather details with Britt. Hello again, time for a quick check of the day's finance news. And it was a mixed start to the week. BHP and Oz Minerals were both up by nearly 2%. Santos also rose by 0.75%. Adelaide Brighton finished the day where it started. However, it wasn't all good news. Wesfarmers dropped by over 1%. Elders also slightly in the red. And the ASX 200 and All Ordinaries finished down by less than 0.1%. Time for a look at the weather now, and it's looking like a chilly one tomorrow in parts of our region. With all the latest details, here's Britt.
Thanks, John, and good evening. We'll get to tomorrow in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at today. Fine and partly cloudy across the region. We saw maximum temperatures sitting 1 or 2 degrees either side of the average. Broken Hill and Woodna both recorded a high of 20 degrees today. 18 was the top for Port Augusta and Port Pirie. Whyalla reached 16 degrees, with Port Lincoln, Kadina, Cleve, Clare, Coffin Bay and Adelaide all recording highs of 15. Today's satellite images show cloud about the coast, with a low pressure trough bringing little, if any, rain. Skies remained clearer in the north under a ridge of high pressure. And now to tomorrow. Let's start with those Gulf waters. Winds south to southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, reaching up to 20 knots in the south tomorrow evening. Seas around 1 metre, but increasing later in the day. Swells south to southwesterly around 1 metre, but also increasing in the evening. So let's see what it's going to look like near you. Pretty chilly across the Spencer Gulf region. Port Lincoln partly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 13 degrees. Cleve fine and 12. Woodna a top of 16 degrees. Whyalla partly cloudy and 14 tomorrow. A top of 17 for Port Augusta, fine and partly cloudy through the day. Kadina an overnight low of 1 degree, warming up to a partly cloudy 14 tomorrow afternoon. And it's going to be a cold morning in the mid-north with a low of 1 degree. Port Pirie partly cloudy with a top of 15. Clare partly cloudy and 11. Mostly sunny at Broken Hill tomorrow with a top of 14 degrees. Now let's take a quick look further ahead through the week. To Wednesday first, showers about the west coast, but fine and partly cloudy about the remainder of the region. Port Augusta with a high of 18 degrees. Woodna and Port Pirie both 16. Whyalla and Kadina 15. Broken Hill 14. Port Lincoln a top of 13 degrees. Thursday, possible storms about Broken Hill, rain forecast over the west coast, eastern Eyre Peninsula, Flinders and mid-north districts, and showers expected further south. Maximum temperatures sitting between just 11 and 13 degrees. Friday, also a possible storm at Broken Hill with showers about the Spencer Gulf region. Very low maximums once again on Friday. So John, it may be chilly tomorrow, but it's going to be even colder later in the week. I'll have more on that in Tuesday's bulletin.
Thanks, Britt. And that's the local news this Monday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Until then, on behalf of the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.